chair of our Prop E committee, Dr. Singleton, and to Mr. Sistrunk for their leadership in passing Prop E by a 68.6% majority. That is fantastic. I emailed our area supervisor, Dr. Ricker, today to ask him to be sure to share that with Commissioner Van Even, and he said he had already done that. Mm-hmm. By comparison, Normandy Collaborative had two issues on the board: a tax levy, which did not pass, and a no tax increase bond issue, which barely passed. Mm-hmm. So we, staff, all those who work forward, you ought to be commended for just an excellent job. My concern was trying to pass a tax levy in the time of a pandemic and when most of our students were on virtual. But our patrons came through, and I would thank them. I thank them also. I understand that Mayor Jones is participating in the meeting. Can we unmute him and have him to say for a few words? Because I know he supported Prop E. Mayor Jones.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here to speak before you. This was an easy position to support this proposition. I know where the district has come from, and I have firsthand seen the improvement. I've graduated 3 children from the district, and extremely happy in the progress that it's making. So as we were able to campaign and for the proposition, it was easy for me to make the case. And over here in Delwood, but they overwhelmingly support it because they know how important the school district, a good school district is to a thriving city. So again, the city of Delwood will always support the district. We're always here to support anything the district needs on behalf as it relates to the city of Delwood. We will always be there. And it was a pleasure to support this proposition.
Thank you so much for your support. We'll go to Riverview Excellence. Who is going to handle that?
That will be me, Dr. Beckwith. Okay. And let me pull this information up. So Riverview Excellence for this week, we have a lot of people to honor. So we wanted to honor the Building Teachers of the Year. They have already been announced, but due to Proposition E, they really hadn't gotten their due recognition yet. So we want to go ahead and name those individuals. So from Danforth Elementary, we have Lisa Dick. Gibson Elementary, Ralph Haley. From Glasgow Elementary, Stephanie Leger. From Highland Elementary, Deanna Keeley Glenn. From Koch Elementary, we have Rochelle Wilson. At LeMasters, we have Melissa Bircher. At Lewis and Clark, we have Anna Gengenbacher. At Meadows, Camille Williams Norris. Michelle Obama Early Childhood Academic Center, Mary Reich. Hope I didn't mess up her name. At Moline, Jean Heil. At Central Middle, Asia Nash. At Westview Middle, LaChrista Wilson. And at the high school, we have Joshua Gaither. And so we just wanted to give honor and respect to all of those teachers who were named the Building Teacher of the Year. I know right now the process is undergoing to name a District Teacher of the Year out of those honorees, but we just want to say great job for them. I know Mrs. Sharp has worked hard on getting that together, and I believe she's working on a presentation for the board. I'm not sure if that's tonight or at a later date, but we wanted to honor those teachers. Also, we have a few students that we want to honor in Riverview Excellence. And one is Dallas Brown. He's a Moline Elementary student. And Dallas Brown, he's a 4th grader. He had his paintings placed on display in Jefferson City at the state capitol as part of the Senate Art Show. And also Anaya Foster, another Moline Elementary student. She's a 3rd grader. She received the Top 100 award in the Picture the Music competition with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. So we want to thank those young people for doing an excellent job. We want to thank all those teachers for doing an excellent job and just continue to highlight the excellence in the Riverview Gardens School District.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Sistrunk. Ms. Fields has informed me that there are no patrons who wish to speak to the board, so we will go to reports from Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Spurgeon.
Thank you, Dr. Beckwith. Well, we'll spend just a little bit of time this evening because, as you know, when you take on a very challenging task, such as passing a Proposition E with the tax levy increase, it takes a whole team to make that happen. And so I'm going to spend just a few minutes here and recognize all of those individuals that I can, in my mind, can remember that really assisted us moving forward. So as Dr. Beckwith said, April the 6th, our communities passed overwhelmingly in a supermajority, 68.6% for a tax levy increase of Proposition E. So first and foremost, I want to thank our communities for all their support. We couldn't do it without them. Next, Ms. Mara Reel and Ms. Oswald. Ms. Mara Reel was with us at Believers Temple, was also with us in canvassing. Ms. Oswald, you were with us almost each time with the Proposition E committee. Dr. Singleton and Mr. Sistrunk, we couldn't have done it without you to organize the meetings and get everybody together and organize the canvassing every Saturday. And the times where we felt like we were going to hit by cars, we were handing out cards at each of the intersections. So I want to thank both of them, St. Louis American for their support, Representative Marlene Terry, Senators Brian Wilson and Angela Mosley, Bishop Scott and the membership and Believers Temple for their support. Glasgow Village Support Group supported us as well. First Student, who gave us free access to the school buses and also placed the school buses with big signs, vote yes for Proposition E around some of the major polling places. Yvonne Green and her team, Tina Adams Turnipseed for getting communication and alert now messages out to parents, Dr. Stacy Nichols, Dr. Tanya Patton, Miss Monica Williams Woods for their and their team support for Proposition E, all of our Prop E committee members, all of our cabinet members for planning and preparation and for deployment of the Prop E strategies, volunteers from the Little Bit Foundation, RGNEA for their support and those who participated in the phone bank calling and working the polls, Ms. Demetra King and Ms. Shay Fields and the building secretaries for working to get community members and high school students registered to vote. Mayor Jones and his council members in Delwood for their support of Proposition E. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor DeShay and her council members in Moline Acres for their support for Proposition E. And what you don't know is on the day during the polls, all the mayors were at their home sites at their polls lobbying and talking to patrons about their support for Proposition E. Mayor Pearson and his council members and Bell Fountain neighbors for their support, Mayor Austin and her council members in Jennings, Gentlemen of Vision and Mr. Wharton and their sponsors. You may not know this, but Gentlemen of Vision came out 2, maybe 3 times and worked canvassing with us on the weekends. I want to thank all of our Saturday canvassing volunteers for going door to door, placing signs in yards, handing out Proposition E information on multiple street corners, school administrators and their teams who scheduled and participated in activities to support Prop E, all RGSD faculty and staff who worked to successfully pass Proposition E, all of our poll workers on the day of election, and anyone else that I haven't mentioned that worked to support passage of Proposition E. From my heart and from me and on behalf of the district, I want to thank you and tip my hat and say thank you and a job well done. So with that being said, Dr. Beckwith, it took a team effort to make this happen, and I'm very proud of the work that we were able to accomplish.
Excellent. So are we as a board. We're now on our information items, Prop E update. Is that Mr. Singleton?
Yes, it is, Dr. Beckwith. Thank you. Shay, are you able to share the last couple slides in that presentation? No? Okay. Do I need to share my screen? Okay. All right. Let me pull it up here. Well, let me just say this, because Dr. Spurgeon did quite a bit of it with the naming of all the people involved. I really just wanted to highlight the fact that Prop E was a success on April the 6th. The vote margin of the 68%. All that information is in that presentation, and I don't want to be redundant. Dr. Spurgeon, I think, did an outstanding job of giving those kudos and accolades. And so I just like to, as the committee chair, say thank you to everyone, every building principal, every administrator, everyone, every board member, Mayor Jones, everyone Mayor Pearson was also pivotal in our efforts. So thank you to everyone who played a part in passing Proposition E. Kudos to you all, and we look forward to doing what we said we would do with Proposition E. So that's my report.
Thank you. 7B, yes, Stemtastic Camp Summer 2022.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and community. Tonight I bring to you a collaboration with the St. Louis Science Center and Boeing with Glasgow Elementary. Through this partnership, Riverview Gardens students will participate through a grant that was also written by the St. Louis Science Center and with Boeing in what is called the YES program, which stands for Youth Exploring Science. It is a summer outreach program. It is scheduled to begin a pilot session this summer of 2021 in the school district of University City. So following this pilot this summer, Riverview Garden students will participate beginning in the summer of 2022. This camp is being presented free of charge, so there is no cost to students or the district of Riverview Gardens once we do begin. And at this time, Glasgow is requesting to participate in the YES Stemtastic Camp to begin in the summer 2002 and open the opportunity to not only the scholars of Glasgow Elementary, but other scholars in the district if applicable at no cost to the district or scholars.
Any questions, Ms. Mara Real?
Approximately how many students, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Approximately how many students did they open it up to, do you know?
They didn't say at this time. I did let them know that at our specific site in the past, we've had anywhere from 50 to 100 students in prior programming. But if that opened up to other scholars in the district, that number could increase. So I did give them that as a baseline number.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oswald?
No question.
Okay. Question, is my understanding incorrect that their grant has to be approved first before it can actualize in 2022?
That is my understanding. They are writing the grant themselves, and they wanted to include Riverview Gardens in the grant as well to participate in this. So St. Louis Science Center is writing the grant. We've provided them with the appropriate demographics applicable to Riverview Gardens to include in their grant writing process. And as soon as we hear back on what that looks like, they wanted to make sure that we were included to be able for us to participate in the summer of 2022.
And then Dr. Beckwith, just a reminder, that was the permission that I sought to be able to sign the letter of intent. So, oftentimes before they write the grants, they get the letter of intent to include in the grant process. So that's what I'll be signing.
Understood. No other questions. Thank you, Ms. Curtis. English Language Arts Reading Textbook Adoption.
Good evening, and Special Administrative Board, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and the school community. I am here tonight to present to you for discussion the ELA Reading Textbook Adoption. As you know, the textbook is a vital curriculum support, provides vital curriculum support for our teachers and provides a wealth of learning experiences for our scholars. The evaluation consisted of, but not limited to, reading and writing workshop, valid and varied assessments, teacher and student friendliness. We also went through an RFP. The RFP and the evaluation process was combined also with a parent night where the materials were made available to the rest of the school community. In addition, we also created an adoption committee, which consisted of teachers, the C&I team, instructional coaches, our parent liaison, Ms. Nelson. And so what we would like to do tonight, I also have provided for you a timeline of events that took place in order for this adoption to be considered. The purpose of the adoption obviously is to increase student outcomes. The budget impact, the cost of the ELA textbooks for grades K through 5 is not to exceed $838 from Benchmark Education. And for grades 6 through 12, the amount is not to exceed the $552,338 to be funded by the Curriculum and Instruction Department. And that 6 through 12 instructional materials comes from Savage Learning. The adoption cost will take place over 2 installments. The first installment for K through 5 benchmark education is $200,000. And the first installment for Savage Learning is $276,119 to be paid by June 30th of this school year. The second installment for benchmark education will be $397,838. And then for the 6 through 12 Savage Learning, it's $276,119. It is recommended to the SAB to approve the purchase of benchmark education for elementary and Savage Learning literacy programs in the total amount not to exceed the $1,058,977. Are there any questions?
Ms. Oswald?
I'm sorry, did you say when the second payment was due?
I'm sorry, the second payment, it will be due December, no later than December 31st of this school year as well, into the next fiscal year.
Ms. Maria?
Is that for both of them?
Yes, the second installment, yes, the December date is true for both adoptions.
Thank you.
Dr. Singleton provided me with an interesting and informative document on ESSER too. And one of the things I read was there is no supplant for use of ESSER funds. That means you can use them on a lot of things. So what I'm going to suggest to Dr. Spurgeon and Dr. Singleton, that the first payment come out of GOB, second payment come out of ESSER. Therefore, we're only spending $500,000 rather than $1 million. That's just a comment, no other questions.
And Dr. Beckwith, keep in mind that we do have a lot of money available, and it could be possible for us to pay it all out of ESSER if we have the ability to do that as well.
And that's fine. And that's fine. My only concern in previous talk was whether we would supplant or not. With there being no supplant, that for me at least, opens a whole new parameter for us.
And just another comment real quick, the SAB members just know that the ELA adoption in every district is the most expensive adoption we'll ever have. And so you'll never see another one that's $1 million plus, but this one is one that's always extremely expensive. And then we've also talked about being able to utilize some ESSER funds to be able to make up for learning loss. The new ESSER 3 funds coming in, there's going to have to be a set aside. It's either 10 or 20% that have to be absolutely spent on addressing learning loss. And so we're also looking for some intervention pieces to be able to add to the ELA and our other content areas as well.
A godsend. Understanding by design implementation support.
Yes, good evening again. And so I am providing for discussion, implementation and support for our curriculum. And so we are looking to offer professional development as a tiered process in 4 areas, which include foundations of understanding by design, which primarily will be for our first year or relatively new teachers. Teaching to the performance task, which focuses on the 6 facets of understanding. 3, assessing performance tasks with rubrics. And the 4th option will be creating learning events aligned to the performance tasks with a focus on teaching for deeper learning. The budget impact The budget impact, the cost to support the curriculum implementation will be deducted from the 2021-2022 professional development 1% budget in the amount not to exceed $6,700. This proposal is also under legal review. Do we have any questions?
Ms. Oswald,
No question.
Ms. Real,
Could you repeat what you said would be covered for your first year's teachers?
Foundations of Understanding by Design.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want all of them or just the?
All
for
of
the
them,
new te-
all
Okay,
of them.
okay. I'm sorry. The second one is Teaching to the Performance Task with a focus on the 6 facets of understanding. The third opportunity.
Ms. Ross, excuse the interruption. Why don't you just email those to her?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Sure.
you.
I have no questions.
And I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Also, Ms. Moore, it is provided in the attachment in the proposal, but I also can send it to you as well, whichever way you like.
Okay, I can look at it then, it's in there.
We're down to item C, an RFP for banking services. Dr. Singleton.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Beckwith. Good evening, Dr. Beckwith, Ms. Mara Reel, Mrs. Oswald, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues, and community. Tonight I'm going to present a proposal for an RFP response that we received, contract for banking services for 3 fiscal years. That'll be next year, the 21-22 year, 22-23, and 23-24 school year. So in January, we issued an RFP for banking services. I believe we've been with our incumbent bank, Enterprise Bank, for a number of years. So we opened up an RFP. This is the 3rd RFP that has come out of finance this year. When I first got here, we did transportation. We also did a RFP for auditing services. And this RFP is for banking services. We have we've received 2 bids. Our current incumbent bank, Enterprise Bank and Trust, and we also received a bid from Commerce Bank. There were 2 non-bid responses from Cash Bank and Busey Bank. So there was an audit committee that met, mainly composed of members of the finance team. The Enterprise Bank and Trust, our incumbent bankers, were they were selected to be the banking team for the next 3 fiscal years, mainly because they waived all of the fees in each of the fiscal years. So it does not cost us anything for them to be our depository. There were a number of fees included in Commerce Bank's proposal. And so for that reason, and a few others, obviously they're already familiar with the district and some other facets. The team is prepared to recommend that we do a 3-year contract with Enterprise Bank and Trust, our incumbent banking team, and all of the attachments and board docs really just walk you through the process of the things that we did. So the recommendation is that the SAB accept the proposal by Enterprise Bank and Trust based on the waived fees and rates presented. They were the most cost effective, and their proposal should go for 3 years from fiscal year 22 through fiscal year 24. Are there any questions?
Ms. Real.
Not a question, but a comment. I'm a member of a banking association, and the person that probably contacted you on behalf of Enterprise Bank is also a member of the Metropolitan St. Louis CRA Banking Association. So I probably will not vote if there's a need to vote.
Okay, understood.
Would suggest that you abstain.
Yes.
Ms. Oswald?
No question.
I have no questions. Thank you, Dr. Singleton. Ms. Williams-Woods, the 2021-2022 staffing plan.
Good evening, Dr. Beckwith, Ms. Morrill, Ms. Oswald, Dr. Spurgeon, colleagues and community. Tonight I will be presenting the 2021-2022 staffing plan for discussion and also action for later in the meeting. The proposed staffing plan, it takes into consideration projected enrollment and the needs at each school site. The projected enrollment for next school year is lower, and we believe it's due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, if we have an increase in projected enrollment, I will be bringing a staffing plan back to the Special Administrative Board in late July or August to request an adjustment. So the recommended changes are as follows. Elementary schools decreased by 17 positions, Gibson 4, Highland 4, LeMasters 1, Meadows 5, and Moline 3. No changes for the middle school. For the high school, decreased by 3 positions, 1 social studies teacher, 1 foreign language teacher, and 1 music teacher. The grant funded positions are based on current allocations, and changes can be expected. However, we don't have the information to finalize budget yet for 21-22. The budget impact, 20 teaching positions, approximately $50,000 each. That salary and benefits, which comes to $1 million. It is recommended that the Special Administrative Board approve the 2021-2022 staffing plan. A recommendation for approval will be presented later in the meeting.
Ms. Oswald, any questions?
No question.
Ms. Morrill?
No questions.
Okay. Ms. Williams-Woods, and I didn't add up the figures, but what's the approximate number of students that we will have less next year than this year that you're projecting?
Okay, let's see, Dr. Beckwith. I can do the math quickly for
Well,
you.
just send it to me.
Okay, yes, sir, I
Okay.
will. I
And
have
then-
it broken out by school.
And the second question, this reduction in teaching force for the number that you mentioned, how will this be accomplished? Through hiring less new teachers or by reduction in force?
Actually, Dr. Beckwith, at this point, it looks like it will be through attrition. So we don't anticipate a reduction in force, but a reduction in positions. At this point, we currently have about 33 long-term subs in place. So if you don't feel those positions or remove the subs that we have in place, and then we take into account the number of resignations and retirements, then we don't anticipate a reduction in force.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you. I don't see the summary of fund balance on my agenda.
Items for consent.
I didn't hear you.
Items for consent.
Oh.
10.
I still don't see it on my agenda, but it's up for discussion.
No, Dr. Beckwith, the summary of fund balance report is usually, I think I usually do that at the last meeting of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering why it was printed out for me then. No problem, no problem.
It's on the item for consent. It was discussed last meeting.
Yes, it's consent.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Mhm.
I know what I did. I went to the consent agenda.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm straight now. May I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. We're ready for the question. Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion passes. We do have one action item, the approval of the 2021-2022 staffing plan. May I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. We're ready for the question. Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The motion passes. That completes our agenda for this evening. May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. We're ready for the question. Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Have a good evening.
I don't know who I should ask this. I don't know if I should ask you or you. Can I? Okay.